Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Obsessed With. On this episode, we're joined by Jessie Morrell, an incredible singer and songwriter, and she has brought a whole man and singer today. I first met Jessie back in college, and we then went to university at the same time too, and she has made me cry once from a performance, and it was brilliant. Also, quick heads up, the audio is a little bit strange, and we couldn't get the video working for this episode because the Wi-Fi in the countryside is abysmal, but I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was really fun talking about a whole artist with Jessie, and yeah, let's get straight into it. Hi, welcome back to the next episode. I'm currently here with...
Me! My name is Jessie Morrell, and I am a songwriter and piano player and a singer, mostly.
What kind of stuff do you make for people who haven't heard your stuff before?
So I mainly do Beatles covers and 50s and 60s inspired original songs, mainly on the piano. With the Beatles covers, I sort of change the general vibe of them and do more stripped back, like piano versions. And then for the originals, they're either on piano or guitar, and they're sort of a bit ballady, a little bit musical theatre-y, quite soppy, bit of rock and roll as well, that sort of thing. So like a mush of all the sort of oldie styles.
And is that kind of a thing that you grew up listening to, or is it something that's been a more recent thing?
My parents brought me and my brother up listening to the Beatles, mainly the Red album and the Blue album compilations. But then when I was 12, I went to see the 8 Days a Week film documentary thing about the Beatles. And that sort of changed the trajectory of my whole life. Watching that film, it like flipped my brain chemistry. I instantly got completely obsessed with them and their music. And since then, that never really changed. And that was nearly 10 years ago, which is really weird. But then through getting into the Beatles, I then got into all the other like 60s music and 50s music, rock and roll, all of the Beatles roots and that sort of thing, like Eddie Cochran and Little Richard, Elvis, all that lot. And it meant that my musical style has just formed around the 50s and 60s, basically because of watching that film.
You mentioned that you saw it about 10 years ago. Is that around the same time that you got into songwriting, or was that something that you picked up before or after?
I started trying to write music when I was very tiny. I think I was probably about 4.
Oh, cute.
It was obviously awful, but an attempt was made.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into songs maybe when I was about 10, and I was really into Dodie and all the ukulele stuff. So my songs from the few years before I got into the Beatles are quite different and quite sort of soppy ukulele. And then you can kind of tell suddenly goes rock and roll, which is really funny. But I've kept the sort of Dodie influence. Because of her, I bought a baritone ukulele, and that is now the main instrument I use for like open mics. And if I need something portable, I'll just bring the baritone ukulele, because everyone always goes, what the hell is that? Why is your guitar so tiny? Is that like a violin? And I go, no, actually, it's more funky than that, and it intrigues people. So thank you, Dodie. But yeah, no, I've always been writing songs, and then more recently, I say in the past like 5 years, I realised this is like what I want to do properly. This is the part of music that I want to zone in on, because I always knew I wanted to do music, but I wasn't sure which part of it. But then more recently, it's like, yeah, songs are my thing, and that's what I want to take forward alongside performance and gigs and stuff, and we'll see where it takes me.
And would you say like the Beatles and Dodie and stuff like that are what influenced you the most in your current music?
I'd say Beatles number 1, Dodie definitely. There's a bit of subconsciously a bit of Billy Joel, bit of Elton John stuff. I don't know their stuff as well as the Beatles, but that comes into it. But mainly, honestly, Beatles stuff, rock and roll stuff. But actually, I think some people say that the stuff I do is quite musical theatre-y as well, and I'm not entirely sure when that started.
Right.
Because I mean, I've been in a few shows, like I was in Into the Woods and something else. I've been in a few musicals, but I don't know how that sort of happened. That wasn't a conscious decision to make stuff a bit more sort of, not naff, but like, you know what I mean? A little bit of cheese, but I don't know how that happened.
So before you actually mention the media that you brought to the interview, what kind of media is it?
It's a whole artist, because he's only released 2 things. I bring it a man.
Yeah. Before we also get into it, I wanted to ask, what kind of genres are you most interested in, and also what kind of, not necessarily genre, but vibe interests you the most?
Oh, okay. Rock and roll number one. 60s pop. It's a certain type of jazz. I'm not entirely sure how to describe, like ballady jazz, like Ella Fitzgerald and Frank Sinatra and that sort of thing. When like the Frank Sinatra songs with the orchestra in the background and it's like soaring away.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. French film music, like Michel Legrand. Oh my god. Bro knows how to write a melody. Well, then I've got completely on the flip side, Slovenian pop music. That's where my media discussion will come in, but that's a whole other realm. It's bizarre. I don't know how that happened.
Also kind of in a similar vein, what do you reckon excites you about like an artistic project? I know that's quite a broad statement, but like, have you noticed patterns in what excites you the most?
I would say making something super original is what I always want to do, and that's like my main goal with everything. Wanting to do something new that will make people go, oh, this is weird, or this is kind of strange, this is something I haven't heard before. You know, whilst trying to make it something new, something that also resonates with previous people. So like, for example, writing a song that sounds original and funky, but would still make somebody go, oh, I can tell that she likes Paul McCartney. Getting that balance is what like gives me the thrill.
And also kind of similar to that, how do you know a form of art or a form of media has really affected you?
Hyperfixation.
Yes. I get that.
No, actually, I know. It's if, you know, when your brain is being annoying and there's so much going on and so much so that you can't listen, like you can't find a piece of music that resonates with the situation because there's so much in your head. Because I sometimes get that and then I'm going through my playlist and I'm like, none of this is hitting, none of this fits. And then I find one thing that does and it's like, this is it.
Big thing,
and then I will just listen to that so much. Like that was with the chap that I met yesterday. He's called Ellis Murphy and he is a folk musician, like folk songwriter from Liverpool. And when I was moving out of my Oxford room, I was, you know, obviously feeling a lot of feelings, and nothing in my playlist was working. So I was just packing in silence. It was so depressing. And then I discovered him, and he had this one song called Lovers on the West End, and it starts with waking up at 21. And as a 21-year-old, I listened to that and was like, big. And then I just listen to that all the time. So it's when something fits, when everything else doesn't, and then I hyperfixate on it. That would be when I know that something's like, yeah, this is it. I like this.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about yourself and like your songwriting process or like the stuff that you like in the arts?
I'll say that a big part of the stuff I'm currently doing is putting it on YouTube. It's sort of from third year of uni, I thought I'm going to knuckle down with this channel and I'm going to actually start posting regular stuff and see if people like it. Because I'd only done very occasional stuff like once every 6 months or whatever, but then third year I thought, right, I'm going to do weekly stuff, and that worked in my favour. I've got into a rhythm of doing Beatles cover alternated with an original song and posting every Monday, and then it brings in all the Beatle people and forces them to listen to my stuff.
Smart.
And then they go, oh, actually I quite like this, and then they stick around. The formula is working quite well. I found a way to like make it so I can sort of churn out these videos as quickly as possible. So I do the arrangements really quickly, and then all I have to do is set up this awful video camera and then put a microphone on the piano, do it in one take. Done. Takes like 15 minutes. So I don't have to do like loads of double tracking and spend hours and hours. I can do it quickly and then it feels more sort of authentic.
Yeah.
I think people like that and they like the sort of casual nature of it. I think they appreciate that. Although I did get AI'd once. That's a whole other thing. That was heinous. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. There's a AI generated YouTube channel, like a robot channel called AI Beatles, and every single video on that channel is AI generated original Beatles songs. Already heinous. And for some reason there's only one video on this channel that directly uses a song that already exists and isn't by the Beatles, and it's one of mine. The algorithm picked up one of my songs and made it so it sounds like John Lennon is singing it, and it's the only video on the channel that's not an AI generated Beatles song because it's got my name in the
weird.
title. It's so weird.
That's really creepy. Yeah.
It's awful. It's awful because I came across it I think at like 3 a.m. in the middle of exam season, so I was completely delirious and I came across that and was like, what?
Especially during exams, if that happened to me I'd be like, what is going on?
Like my brain was not at the time. But yeah, the YouTube channel is a big part of stuff. Like loads of Beatles fans are obviously in Liverpool, so it's meant that even though I've only been here for 3 weeks, there there are already people that would turn up if I did a gig.
Right,
they know me
yeah.
from the
YouTube,
interwebs.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really worked in my favour. I can like meet local people whilst also having international people and whatever. It's good.
That's really
It's good.
exciting. That's
It's
smart
going
as well, yeah. So let's get straight into the technical small presentation of this part. What have you brought to us today?
I have brought today an artist whose name is Blaž Mensinger, and he is a Slovenian nostalgic indie pop artist, and he has one EP and one album. I came across this wonderful, wonderful man because I went to Slovenia to see Joker Out, who represented Slovenia in Eurovision.
Yeah, in Eurovision, I remember.
In 23. Amazing band, love them to bits. Saw their gig, and one of the other artists performing at this gig was this guy. I'd never heard of him, didn't know who he was. Me and my friend, we hadn't slept, so we were completely exhausted and thinking we need to get energized. And he comes on the stage, and straight away we're like, hold up, who is this? This is amazing. He's got just such an amazing stage presence and like audience participation. His songs are written in a way that they revolve around like super catchy choruses that are really memorable. Like one of them, the whole main bit of the song is this riff that goes like 30, 30, 30. And then the whole rest of my holiday, my brain was going 30, 30, 30. Like it's really catchy stuff. And he gets the audience like wiggle about. And yeah, as soon as the gig was done, I listened to his studio releases and oof, they're brilliant. And they're so underrated. They're horrifically underrated, but they're brilliant. I think he got known because he was a jazz guitarist in a group. So his first release, his first EP is very jazz orientated. It's got like a saxophone in it and jazz drums or whatever. And then the album release, which was from last year, is more poppy and synthy whilst keeping the jazz roots. So it's very versatile and it's just brilliant. It's a bit like Mario-Kart pop.
Right,
It's
okay, that's fun.
I absolutely love it. That's my thing.
Oh, nice. Do you remember anything else from that first interaction?
Well, the first thing that I noticed was that he was in a brilliant pink double-breasted suit.
Lovely.
And had these amazing sunglasses. And he was with a band, and his voice is a bit like Divine Comedy or Talking Heads or that one song by The Strokes. The ones like, don't go there because you never read it. Sort of very relaxed, very relaxed, low voice. So it was so sort of chill. He was so chill, whilst also bringing this amazing energy. And he had some very sort of iconic dance moves that he kept repeating, sort of like swaying around like a vertical worm. And people in the audience were imitating him as he was doing it and singing along, and he'd sing a phrase and then he'd go, your turn. It was just brilliant. It was just the energy whilst being so chill. I don't really know how he did it, but it was amazing. He's a brilliant
That's really cool, yeah. And have you seen him again since that first time?
No, I desperately want to. I'm hopefully going to go to Slovenia again, maybe in the new year, to be working with an amazing producer, the guy that produces Joker Out.
Oh, cool.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah, congrats, that's exciting.
No, thank you. But when I'm there, if I'm there, hopefully I'll be there. I'm desperate to meet up with him because I spoke to him on Instagram because I did a review of the gig and his album because I thought it was so amazing. I've got to get in touch with him.
Yeah.
I've got to speak to him. And I did, and he was lovely. And yeah, I desperately want to see another of his shows. I don't think he does them that often, maybe like once a month, every 2 months. But he's brilliant and so underrated, and he's fabulous. My new favourite artist.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
Do you remember how your reactions to listening to the actual studio recordings for the first time too?
It was the album first, because the songs that he did live were, mostly from the new album.
Right.
Because he only released it last year. And I think when I first listened to them, my expectations were so high from that live gig. And I first listened to them and thought, this is a tiny bit different. So it took me a few listens to probably get into it. Because I think my brain was going, where's the audience? Like, where's the screaming in the background? But then after those few listens, something clicked. And I thought, oh my God, this is good. This is really good. And since then, I sort of obsessively listened to it like twice a day, the whole
nice
album.
Yeah,
because it's just so good and so groovy, and like when you put it in your headphones, it's mixed so well, and it's like got the perfect amount of bass so you can like bop along to it. But yeah, after that like third listen, it became seared into my brain. It's a bit over dramatic.
Would you recommend a specific track for new listeners on that album?
My favourite song of his, I think it's also my brother's favourite song of his, is from the EP, and it's the title track. It's called Ujetnik Spomenov, and it is really French. It's really like Michel Legrand and descending bass line. Beautiful backing vocals, and it's like wavy. It makes you feel like you're ascending into a higher realm. And it's just beautiful. It's sort of like soul crushing, but so gorgeous, and such a good song to cry to. It's beautiful. So yeah, the title track of his EP would be the song that I recommend.
Yeah, cool. And also, do you remember listening to the EP for the first time too? And what did you think about the difference between, you said like it was more jazz guitar oriented?
Yeah, well actually I only recently probably got into the EP like in the past 2 weeks.
Oh right, yeah.
Because I listened to the album so much and I thought I should probably move on to something else. I'd listened to the title track and thought this is immensely good. But for some reason the other 3 songs, because they were more jazzy, more laid back and saxophony, I hadn't given them much of a chance. And then, just like with the album, 3 listens in, something clicked. I went, oh yeah, this is great. I've got 4 more songs to add to the Blaz playlist. And you can see the evolution of his style. You can see the sort of hints of it in the EP, because it's still focused around very catchy melodies. Like there's one song where the main catchy hook of it is him sort of sighing, but it's really catchy and you can like imitate it and do a call and response with it. It's very clever what he does to make a good hook. It's not just melody, it's also words and also like sound effects. It's pretty cool. And the final song on that EP, I can't remember what it's called, but that is the most like traditional jazzy one. It's got this really vibey saxophone and bass line. Yeah, I just think the sort of versatility of it going from pure jazz to Mario-Kart pop is so cool, and it happened so quickly because I think his jazzy EP, I can't remember when it was released. It might have been like 22, 23, and then the album was 24. So it's pretty quick, like this evolution of style. And I don't quite know the story behind it. I'd love to ask him, and I shall ask him. But yeah, it's just great, the sort of variety of it.
If you were to recommend this to people who are fans of other artists, what other artists could you like compare that with?
Oh, well, his singing style is like Strokes' Talking Heads. I'm trying to think of the sort of general. It's not really like anything one of the things I was struck by was how sort of different it was. But the synth pop and the sort of floaty pop must be quite an established sort of way of doing it. But I can't think off the top of my head of anyone I could compare it to. I mean, I guess you could say fans of Joker Out should definitely check out this guy. But their styles are quite similar. Sorry, their styles are quite different. Because Joker Out are more like rocky and shagadelic, as they say. But Blaz is more suave. And chill, but it's still fans of Joker Out, listen to him, because if Joker Out love him, then the fans will love him.
And kind of on a similar realm, what would you say to people getting into them for the first time? Is there anything they should know, or should they just go straight into it?
Depends if people are more attuned to jazz or if they're more attuned to synth pop, and start with what you know better and then delve into the opposite one and see how similar yet varied it is. But start with what you like and then delve, because I started with the nostalgia pop and then I delved into the jazz, and that worked very well. Now I have big overview of all of it. Start with your familiarity, then delve into it.
Very exciting. That makes sense. You mentioned before that like you'd really like to meet him. If you were to ever either be in the same space of creativity with him, what would you like him to try new, or what would you like to even create with him?
Well, I've been thinking of what I do with the Beatles songs, and when I like slow them down, do piano versions. I would love to try that with some of his songs and do some English translations, because that's what I've been doing with some of the Joker Out songs. There was a song called Nebby Smell, and then it translates to The Siren's Call, because it's a very rocky song, very not aggressive but very energetic, and I slowed it down and did a sort of piano version. I like flipping around the perspectives and doing it like from the girl perspective or whatever. I quite like doing that, and I think that could work really well with some of Blaz's songs. So with his permission and in collaboration with him, I would love to do that and get an English translation and get it on the piano and try that way of things. And that's probably more relevant to his style and the jazzy EP, but it would be like applying that style to the Mario-Kart pop. So like mushing it all together in a sad girl piano version.
Kind of in a similar thing as well. Do you reckon his music's affected the way you both create music now or like listen to music?
I think I'm putting in more descending bass lines. in my songs.
Yeah.
Because of that one song. I think it's made me realise the importance of the catchy hook, and especially in song titles as well. I always try and make the title quite like choppy and different, because that sort of brings people in, and I think that's what he does super well. Like, I don't know what any of his titles mean, but they're great. They're really choppy and sort of reveal the riff even when you're just looking at the title. Thinking of how I listen to music, I've never really before, apart from with Ellis Murphy, had a situation where I've found one artist and have just listened to them like at any given opportunity. Like every time I have my headphones on, I go straight to them. I've not had that before. I didn't even have that with the Beatles. I'd always just mush them in with everything else. But with Blaz, I've had that. I put the headphones on and be like, right, let's get the album start to finish on the bus on the way to work. Let's put it on. So I guess it has sort of changed how I listen to stuff in that way. I guess I haven't done much of listening to albums from start to finish, which I know is quite common because of, streaming obviously being the norm now. But it's something I'd like to do more. I used to do it with the Beatles a bit, but I started doing it again with Blaz, and it's meant that it's great like knowing what's coming next and being like, then it goes into Griever, then it goes into Foboshoshlawa. And I really like that. And you can see how he's ordered it and how well it works in conjunction with each song. And yeah, I'd say listening to albums start to finish, I do more because of his album.
Yeah, that's very exciting. That's a cool change to it. If you could describe Blaz's music in one sentence, what do you think you would describe it as?
Mario-Kart jazz pop. I think that's got to be it.
That's fair.
He calls it nostalgic indie pop.
Okay, yeah.
But I think I was thinking this morning of which Mario Kart song it made me think of. I think it's, Rainbow Road?
Yeah.
Isn't there like a chill version of it or something? Maybe when you're not on the final lap and it's just synthy and floaty. I think maybe it was the old version on the little DS.
Oh, right, yeah.
I think it's that just made me think Blaz.
It sounds like that.
Yeah, that's how I described it.
Yeah, cool.
Rainbow Road.
Actually, that kind of ties into the last question that I want to ask about Blaz, and that's if you could describe his music as a single object, what would you describe it as?
Oh, that's such a good question. Oh my god, a single object? Gonna have to think for a moment. I have no idea why I'm thinking of this specific thing, but those finger traps? And I don't know why, because there's nothing about it that's like imprisoning. The sort of playful yet, oh my god, what am I talking about? I'm sure the degree should have prepared me to answer that question better, but a finger trap. I think like the colourful ones, the bright ones, and it's like a kid's toy, but it's also like deep. I don't know.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about Blaz's music, or how you could maybe convince the audience and me why I should listen to it?
Oh my god, it's like a sales pitch. The music videos are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't that many of them. They are so colourful and quite funny, and like they're quite sort of sarcastic. They're a bit sort of old-fashioned. They're just very tasteful.
Right, yeah.
And they're great, and I'd really recommend starting with those. I guess everyone loves jazz. Oh my god, I just thought everyone loves jazz, so listen to Blaz.
Perfect pitch.
Yeah, full stop.
Yeah.
That is it. And everyone likes Mario Kart,
so true, yeah. Have you seen like the people who do live Mario Kart music?
Yeah.
I'm just imagining that now, but with like the music playing in the background.
Yes, that could work.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask him if he could do that.
Yeah, that's fun. Well, that's the end of the little presentation, as I'm calling it now. Before we round out the interview, is there anything you want to share and promote, or where can people find you?
Oh, okay.
In a non-creepy way.
I'll promote my YouTube channel. So it's Jessie Morrell Music. Morrell is spelled Morrell, and it's not pronounced Morel. That's very important. And if you forget what that is, then just put "She Loves You," the Beatles cover, and it might come up. It's all on the YouTube. It's like a sort of portfolio kind of thing.
Yeah.
And everything that revolves around it. So the YouTube is the central orb.
That is everything that I wanted to talk about. So thank you so much for coming on. I hope you had fun, and it was fun to obsess over something. So yeah.
Thanks for having me.
And that is episode 2 of Obsessed With done. Thank you so much, Jessie, for coming on the podcast. It was so fun talking about a whole artist. I'm really looking forward to listening to Blaz, and keep a lookout on my reviewing Instagram account, Joey Rates Things, for a review of Blaz. And if you want to learn more about Jessie, I've left her links in the description, either if it's on YouTube in the description below, but if it's on other places, it'll still be in a description somewhere on the platform. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time. Bye!